NBS launches its COVID-19 data dashboard. The Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency says we will continue to guide price of petrol, just as the AFDB institutes judiciary measures to monitor COVID-19 funds for Nigeria. Nigeria says it reaffirms commitment to OPEC Plus oil cut deal. World Bank says global economy will shrink by 5.2%. This is Business Express reaching you on the network service of the NTA, and I am Benny Adams, your guide. The African Development Bank AFDB has instituted measures to monitor the use of $288.5 million and other coronavirus funds. This was disclosed in a statement published on the site of the financial institution. AFDB had approved the sum of $288.5 million for Nigeria to help the nation tackle the COVID-19 pandemic and mitigate its impact on people, businesses, and strengthen the social protection system. In a statement, the bank explained that it would maintain dialogue, particularly with the Office of the Auditor General in Nigeria, to ensure adherence to the transparency and the accountability of the funds. The disbursement of 50 billion naira targeted credit facility being done by the Nigerian incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending, Nassau Microfinance Bank, on behalf of the Central Bank of Nigeria, is already putting smiles on the faces of Nigerians, especially households and micro, small and medium businesses affected by COVID-19. The impact of COVID-19 on Moses Oluchukwu and his likes about 3 months ago was so severe that they concluded they were doomed. But the 50 billion naira CBN stimulus package to him and beneficiaries across the country is turning their doom into boom.
It was very, very hard on us. But thank God for that stimulus package.
The package of 1.6 million naira has assisted Oluchukwu to remain in the school business during the lockdown, as he procured more computers and employed an ICT specialist to meet the demands of e-learning. The story of this household beneficiary, whose sports betting and entertainment business came to a halt as a result of the lockdown, is the same as Moses. The CBN stimulus is the magic wand that has kept them alive.
Normally come to play game, they will tell you they cannot make withdrawals. You need to follow them to the bank, or no, but I'm trying to cut off that kind of stress. So anybody that wants to play game can easily use a POS so you don't have your cash at hand.
Adejo, who is into home delivery of cooking gas in Abuja, is more enthused with the fact that beneficiaries need not know anybody to benefit from the scheme, as he is a living testimony.
We have increased in our volume of delivery. We've improved on our marketing again because it's a continuum, and we've employed more staff. So I would say, okay, the loan has gone a long way to boost our business and even to make our business easier.
In a run-up to this disbursement, Oluchukwu and his counterparts are among 80,000 Nigerians who applied, out of which 40 of them are households.
I urge households, micro, small and medium enterprises to take advantage of this palliative by obtaining loans at 5% interest per annum to boost their businesses and grow the economy again. The 50 billion targeted credit facility is real. Take advantage of the palliative to grow your businesses.
The central bank has announced 6 initial policy responses to COVID-19 to the economy, to include extension of moratorium on loans, interest rate reduction on CBN's interventions from 9% to 5%, creation of a 50 billion naira fund, credit support for healthcare sector, regulatory forbearance, and strengthening of loan to deposit rate policy. The Petroleum Products Pricing and Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, says no private individual or group has the mandate to fix prices of petroleum products except the statutory government organization saddled with the responsibility of advising and guiding prices. The introduction of the market-based pricing regime as a result of the deregulation of the downstream subsector of the petroleum industry does not erode the role of a regulator in monitoring and regulating activities in the sector. Mie Ogidi in this report puts issues into perspective.
With the oil and gas sector driving the economy for many years, whatever affects petrol affects all strata of the society. And the recent decision by the federal government completely deregulating the downstream subsector of the petroleum industry, giving independent marketers the right to import and sell the product based on the dictates of market forces, is dominating the public space with several interpretations. However, government is not leaving consumers to their own devices or the outright whims and caprices of independent marketers. So, the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, continues to monitor the international crude oil market monthly and advise the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and oil marketers on the monthly guiding price for the commodity. A strength PPPRA draws from Section 7 and 24 of the agency's Establishment Act No. 8 of 2003.
On monthly basis, PPPRA is going to come up with a monthly guiding price on how much PMS will be sold. And it's going to be a reflection of what the market is doing every month.
The coronavirus pandemic hit hard on the global economy, with the oil industry receiving the greatest shock, resulting in the price of crude oil crashing, necessitating a downward review of petrol pump price. For Nigeria, it is the perfect time to take out subsidy on the product, removed completely from the revised 2020 national budget. With a price modulation mechanism now in place, prices are to be reviewed monthly. June 3, 2020 saw the federal government, through the PPPRA, placing the price of petrol within 121.50 naira to 123.50 naira per litre bound for the month of June.
This price set by the government is going to run till the end of the month.
It is indeed a good news for the consumer, but many marketers of the product are yet to adjust their pumps to the new price. Assurance from the PPPRA is that whether deregulation or not, the interest of the consumer must be protected from any form of exploitation.
Okay, the gradual relaxation of many of the lockdown measures as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic across the globe has contributed to a cautious recovery and the return of more stability in the oil market. This was at the 179th meeting of the Conference of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Lydia Sampson reports.
The meeting was held via video conference under the chairmanship of OPEC President Mohamed Arkab, Minister of Energy of Algeria, and head of OPEC delegation. The conference took note of oil markets development since it last met in Vienna on the 5th of March 2020 and reviewed the oil market outlook for the remainder of 2020 into 2021. It noted the positive ramifications of the decisions taken by all participating countries in the declaration of cooperation at the 10th extraordinary OPEC and non-OPEC ministerial meeting on the 12th of April 2020 to adjust downwards overall crude oil production by 9.7 million barrels per day for the month of May and June 2020 by 7.7 million barrels per day from 1st July 2020 to 31st July. The 179th conference applauds the additional adjustments from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Oman in June. The conference reaffirmed participating countries' commitment to the existing arrangements from April. The meeting therefore agreed unanimously to extend the first phase of 9.7 million barrels per day production adjustments agreed on the 10th extraordinary and non-OPEC ministerial meeting for a further month from 1st of May 2020 to 31st July 2020. Member countries also reaffirmed their continued focus on fundamentals for a stable and balanced oil market in the interest of producers, consumers, and the global economy.
Well, it's fair to say that the 179th meeting of the Conference of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC Plus, has come and gone. Nigeria reaffirms its commitment to the oil cut deals, as well as extending cuts in win for Saudi-Russia alliance. These decisions are just some of the far-reaching outcomes coming out of the meeting. Now joining us from our Kano Network Center is Professor Garba Ibrahim Sheka. He is a professor of economics from Bayero University, Kano.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
Thank you so very much. Well, Prof, that report by Lydia, if you watched it, highlighted some of the resolutions of the just concluded meeting. Do you see these resolutions changing the narrative in one of the worst hit sectors by COVID-19 and looking at emerging economies that are dependent on this resource?
Really? Well, actually, the meeting that was held on Saturday, 6 June 2020 was by both OPEC and non-OPEC members, which we call the OPEC Plus. And actually, they met to affirm what they call declaration of cooperation. Because if the world oil market is slumped into problem, it affects both OPEC and non-OPEC members. So they met in order to, they already have met by April and decided that there will be 9.7 billion barrels cut per day in order to stabilize the market price. And then they agreed that they will be reviewing it monthly. So they met June in order to determine what will happen through the June. And fortunately for the cartel, they have all accepted unanimously that they should continue with the oil cut of 9.7 million barrels per day up to July, after which they may review it to 7.7 million barrels per day, and then thereon it will continue until December. Because this is the only way to stabilize the oil price. As you know, the emergence of COVID-19 led to a very serious and drastic reduction in the demand for oil products globally. And then on the other side, there was a sort of battle or war between Saudi Arabia and Russia.
Prof, these cuts seem to be downwards from 9.6 to 7.7, then down to 5.8 as it were. And we seem to be seeing a recovery. How far would OPEC go to ensure that member states comply to this?
Well, actually, you know, they are doing that with the current trend in the market. The demand is recovering a little bit. Economies that were shut down have been opening quickly, and demand has risen. So with the right demand, the glut in the market can be cleared. So what they is within June and July, the glut in the market, the excess supply may be neutralized. And then from there, they can start reducing it to 7.7, 5 point something, till the time when probably they can even restore production. So the issue here is compliance. I have seen in the meeting they noted that Venezuela, Iraq, and Nigeria have not met the reduction, and that they are expecting them in the to meet up with the cut in supply because of the economic crisis in these countries. So, but with the commitment of Russia and Saudi Arabia and with many others of OPEC, I think it is okay. If they cut it by 9.7 now, and by 2 months, I'm sure the glut in the market will be taken off by the excess, the increase in demand, as well as the balancing between supply and demand. And subsequently, by then Nigeria, Venezuela, and Iraq have also joined to cut their production. Then certainly the market will be stabilized and the price will keep rising. You see, we have seen the impact. Price have increased already to $42 a barrel, and it's like
before this stability, which we hope comes very soon, what is the long-term as well as the short-term implication of this cut for Nigeria specifically?
In Nigeria, we are supposed to learn a lot of lessons. The implication is that right from the word go, when the budget was announced, we raised alarm that our quota in OPEC was 1.7 million barrels. And we proposed that we are going to be producing 2.3 million barrels in a day. We are going to defy the OPEC quota. But actually, as far as we are concerned, if we produce and sell more, we'll make more money. But if we produce in defiance with the quota given to us, that is to say, we violate the quota, we end up ruining the capacity of OPEC to stabilize the market price. So the long-run effect is that we should comply with the quota given to us, no matter how small it is, in order to stabilize the price, because we'll be happy if the price reaches $70, $100 a barrel, rather than the less than $30 that we sold it a month or 2 months ago. So if, in the long run, we complied with the cartel, and on the other side, from the lesson we learned, we tried and diversified the economy so that we stop depending on revenue to a large extent, we are going to have a very stable economy in Nigeria.
Okay, Prof, there seems to be a rebound in the prices of crude oil globally. Brent possibly might sell for $50 per barrel because at the close of the market on Friday, we saw a $42.30, and just shortly before coming on air, we have 42.75. Does that indicate that this rebound is going to come, this recovery is going to come sooner than expected?
First, complying with the quota reduction. In every economic activity, demand supply determines price. If supply is more than demand, there's certainly going to be a problem. But in this regard, now demand has been very low because so many economies have been shut down. Major buyers, China shut down their economy, European shut down their economies. Demand was actually reduced to the bare minimum. And on the other side, there was overglut. Oil-producing countries refused to slow down their output. They kept producing, and if Saudi Arabia even give discount below the OPEC or market-determined prices. So now it is a sign that the countries are complying with the quota allocated to them. And then it is also a sign that the economy that have started opening, the demand has started picking off. And what we lacked earlier was just lack of demand. If the demand is restored, then certainly the price will quickly come back. And certainly, of course, if economies are open, factories will be open, people will be back to their work, car users will use their cars, aeroplanes will start flying, factories will start using the fuel, and then at the end of the day, demand will just be...
Okay, Professor, quickly, there seems to be an ongoing argument between regulators and marketers as to the price of the petroleum products as we have today. In an open market, talking about regulation, should there be a regulator in an open market?
Actually, that is incompatible. If you say open market, if you say deregulated economy, then you are not supposed to regulate anything. And our complaint was earlier that we claim to be deregulated, but then prices are determined by authorities, are not allowed to be determined by the market forces. And so when prices, in fact, we only have a change these days when government decided to reduce the price threefold now. But in those days, the world oil price would be $100 a barrel, and we'll be buying petrol at maybe 200 and something liters per liter. And then when the price crashed to $30, we still keep paying the same price. That is not the way. Let it be flexible. When consumers know that when the price crashed to less than $30, as it was just 2 months ago, and the price was reduced to about 100 naira per liter, and then later when the price rose to, say, $100 a barrel, price rose to 145 people will understand. But where prices are sticky, and then factors that are determining change in price are fluctuating, then certainly people cannot understand. But as it is now, people can understand when the price gets down, they pay lower prices. When the price gets up, because this finished product is being imported. Those countries that are importing from us are refining and sending it back to us. They were buying it $100 a barrel. Now they are buying it $30. So if they buy it cheap, they have to sell it cheap, and people should have to buy it cheap. So the way it is now, it is normal. Government have allowed market to determine the government should allow market to
normal. Thank you very much, Professor Ibrahim Garba Sheka, for finding time to share your thoughts with us on Business Express. Well, moving on, talking stocks, trading close upwards to begin the week in green. The NSE All Share Index advanced by 0.93% to close at 25,249.90 basis points, with market capitalization at 13.1 trillion naira, a slight increase from the previous 13 trillion naira. 230.4 million shares valued at 2.1 billion naira in 4,621 deals were traded by investors. MTN Nigeria, Boa Cement, and NB led the losers, while Dangote Sugar, Guinness, and Etana topped the losers list. FBN, H Guarantee, and Japol Oil were traded the highest volume of shares. U.S. stock futures and Asian shares advanced on Monday after a surprise recovery in U.S. employment gave further confidence of a quick economic recovery after many weeks of lockdowns aimed at controlling the coronavirus pandemic. Let's join Bosede Ebo for the details.
As countries across the globe continue to ease quarantine restrictions caused by the deadly coronavirus, global economies' operations have begun to normalize as the world strives to contain the pandemic. Equities skyrocketed on the back of a surprise surge in the U.S. employment, as the Labor Department said Friday that the economy added 2.5 million jobs in May. Meanwhile, in early trading of 8th June, the U.S. stock futures were higher, building on the previous week's sharp gains on optimism over the economy reopening. Dow Jones Industrial Average futures rose 194 points. The move implied an opening gain of about 829 points. S&P 500 futures jumped 2.62%. Nasdaq futures also was up 2.06%. Stocks in Asia were higher after U.S. jobs data released Friday showed an unexpected jump, spurring hopes of an economic recovery from the coronavirus pandemic. Nikkei added 1.37% to close at 23,178.10. Shanghai Composite up 0.24% to 2,937.77, while the Hang Seng Index was fractionally higher as of its final hour of trading. European stocks traded slightly lower as markets weighed an economic recovery from the coronavirus pandemic and ongoing global protests against racism. FTSE appreciated by 0.13%, while DAX low by 0.32% and CAC 40 0.30%. Africa's equity were mostly mixed, with Namibia's overall index topping 0.58%, and Ghana's GSA Composite also added 0.67%, while South Africa's GSA Africa Top 40, Nairobi's All Share, and Tunisia's Tunidex depreciated.
Crude oil prices rebound ease investors' concerns for Nigeria debt market. For how commodities are faring in the local and global market, up next is a graphic summary. Well, that does it on this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NTA News Now. Don't forget to use the hashtag, it's BizX. Remember to always wash your hands with soap under running water as the world battles COVID-19. Business Express returns on Wednesday. Join us then. I am Benny Adams saying stay safe.